doubt that you will have seen this next guitar shape becoming more and more common in your Instagram feed. So guitar players like Pliny have been using this odd-looking headless guitar known as a Strandberg. Now the Strandberg Boden has been around for a while, and it is a really well-known modern guitar. It has all these modern features, and we've talked on the channel before about how guitarists are usually resistant to modern upgrades to the classics, but there is something about this guitar that I think has captivated people, but the price often scared people off. Strandberg have actually been able to make a cheaper version of the guitar, but with all of the same quality and the same incredible features of the more higher end versions of their guitar. The Strandberg Boden Essential 6. Now, I'm holding this in its case because, for a start, as you can see, this case is really, really easy to get around. It is so light. But then I get this guitar out, and the color of this is awesome, but you know this shape. When I showed this to my partner, she actually said to me, "That looks like a guitar AI would draw." And I don't think she's totally wrong here, but let's have a look here at the amazing shaped Strandberg Boden guitar in this very cool sort of semi-sparkly purple that is in my hand here. Now, a couple of features to talk about with this guitar. First of all is its shape. This is an incredibly ergonomic guitar, and if I sit here with my leg up on this stool like we do, this part of the guitar sits perfectly on my leg, and I have the guitar at a beautifully ergonomic position. If I'm going that way, it similarly sits there and is really, really well balanced. The fact that it's headless probably freaks a few people out, but the design of this makes the balance feel really, really amazing. Now let's have a look at some of the other unusual features of this. Of course, being headless, there are no tuning pegs up here, so it's actually tuned down here. Now these seem fiddly, but they're actually quite easy to use, and I just twist them just like I would any other tuning peg. Sometimes I'm playing and I know I can hear, for example, my B string is slightly out of tune, and if I do this and I reach my hand over and try to tune with that, it looks a bit silly, but also it's not very friendly on my shoulder. If I take my hand off, my left hand off to tune it, then I lose the chord. But here I can actually hold the chord and make quick adjustments without the sound of the chord disappearing, which I think is actually something that is really advantageous in a gig situation. The other thing that is cool about this is the input jack sits on the back there, and you can see that this is at an unusual angle. But if I was plugged in here, like a lot of guitars often would, I couldn't sit it there. Now, because of the break angle of that, I can actually plug a straight lead in and still sit it on my leg without affecting the input there. The final thing, and I think the most important thing about this guitar, is the neck shape. After a little while, you realize how important this shape is. Now, if you can see across here, that doesn't go down in a straight line to the body of the guitar. As your hand moves across the fretboard, your hand shape changes. The fact that that moves means my thumb can always stay relatively flat to the back of the neck, but keep my fingers in a position that allows me to play very comfortably. Meant my hand was less fatigued, and I actually felt that I could play for longer, or at least without any issues. It has 24 frets, it has 2 humbuckers in it, and it has got a 5-way switch, so we get humbucker, bridge single coil, neck single coil, and neck humbucker there. So standard kind of 2 humbucker 5-way switching. And it comes in a range of colors, but I just thought this one was particularly cool. Let's have a quick listen to some of the sounds available in this guitar. The first position of this guitar is a bridge humbucker. Now we have a volume and a tone, which works for all of the pickups. Then the bridge single coil. Humbuckers in the middle. Then our neck single coil. And then finally, the neck humbucker. We can hear a pretty wide range of tones there. I've obviously just got this same amp sound. But the other thing that I did notice about this is that the volume and the tone controls were quite interactive, which is really great. So if I have a full bridge humbucker sound, I actually have the ability to wind that down almost all the way and still have top end in my sound. I don't lose that I don't get that muddiness that sometimes happens. I'm not 100% sure if there are treble bleed caps in there, but there may be some kind of circuitry. But either way, the end result for me is that the whole way up the range of the guitar, is usable, which I think is really important. Similar thing with the tone control. If I go to the neck single coil here, I can really darken that without it becoming too muddy. It actually just becomes a much warmer single coil. So the controls of this guitar are really awesome. And to be able to do that, so many guitars that we play, we hear about people using their volume and tone control so much, and sometimes we get guitars that just don't do that much. And I certainly know in my early years of playing, I didn't really understand why anybody even used these, because the guitars I had didn't do that much or didn't sound that good when I rolled the volume down. But these really do. One of the things Boden claims on their website is that this is a guitar that can do almost anything. So what I thought I would do is take this to about the most inappropriate gig that I can think of taking it to, and see if it genuinely does do everything. So I'm on my way to the gig, and I've got the Strandberg in the car, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it musically fits in. Obviously, doing in the gig tonight, which is like a function for a ball, we need to cover a lot of musical ground. So everything from kind of jazz music all the way through to your standard pop and rock covers and beyond that you might expect at a regular sort of function that needs to keep a dance floor going. The other thing too is that given the look of the guitar, it's not something that you usually see a kind of function band who are dressed in suits playing. So I'll be interested to see if it's so out there that it doesn't quite fit in aesthetically, or if it's something that it's just a modern looking guitar and nobody really bats an eyelid. Let's see how it goes. So as you can hear from that video, this guitar did exceptionally well at covering a lot of bases. So we did everything from jazz to, neo soul to kind of country to standard rock. Pretty much everything that I threw at this guitar did really quite well. So first of all, did I have fun? Yes, absolutely. This not only turned a few heads and got a few entertaining looks out of the band, but it was really enjoyable to play. It was really comfortable for the entire gig. I'm not sure that this guitar is my personal look. However, in watching the video back, I didn't hate the look of it on me as I played. And that's something I wasn't sure about, because when I first picked it up, I thought, I'm definitely going to feel weird seeing myself playing this guitar. But it actually didn't throw me off as much as I thought it was going to. So that's a tick. This is a very pigeonhole-y sort of guitar. If I take this guitar to any gig, it pretty much instantly says the sort of guitar player that I am and what I should or shouldn't be doing on this guitar. Like, people just really are expecting a certain music from a guitar like this. I imagine it would be very difficult to go from this to, say, a Les Paul on the same gig. And in fact, something that I noticed last night playing this guitar was, whilst it was extremely comfortable playing here because it has no body and it's very light, the problem with the fact that it had no body is my right arm felt like it didn't have anything to kind of rest on. I felt this kind of strange tension come into my arm. Now, that's not a smite on the guitar at all. It is just something that takes a second to get used to. So as a home playing guitar, as a practice tool, as something to teach with, I love this. I think that this is awesome. And the fact that the gig bag is the size that it is, and the portability of the guitar and the tones that are in it, it's a killer guitar. And these Boden Essential cheaper versions are such a great entry point into the Strandberg range. My takeaway from the gig is that because it is a little bit of a different body shape, it actually, I imagine, will take a little bit longer for me to get used to. But having said that, I think it nailed the tones. I think it can genuinely do everything. I think it really did have a great single coil sound and great humbucker sounds for all those different tunes that we played on the gig last night. The shape makes it a little bit kind of jarring in certain bands. This is a unique guitar, there's no doubt about it, but it definitely does do what it says, which is be an extremely ergonomic and player-friendly guitar with all of the sounds that you may need for any gig. The trick will be just getting over the look of the guitar on certain gigs, but I reckon that won't take too long because it is such a functional guitar, and it's a good talking point in the band room as well. One other drawback, I forgot to bring a guitar stand with me. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't stand up on the ground very easily. And also the placement of the input jack means that is a little bit fraught. I ended up just in between sets putting it actually back in its case, leaning against my amp, and that was probably the safest place for it. But it is something that I think you definitely have to bring a stand to make sure that you had somewhere to rest that in between sets, because it doesn't stand up very well on the ground. So let us know in the comments below. Could you see yourself playing a guitar of this shape, of this color? Do you like headless guitars? Do you hate headless guitars? They're about the most divisive instrument in guitar world, I think. So there is a certain player who wouldn't go near a band that is playing all digital modeling and all headless guitars. Although having said that, in your very ultra modernist house, that would look not out of place at all. So let us know, what do you think? For me, the jury is still out. I really like the feel, was really impressed by the tones. I'm not sure about the color of this one for me, but in terms of comfort, yeah, it's an extremely comfortable guitar to play. But it is definitely divisive, headless guitars and this strange new design. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching Noisegate. See you next time.